Hey everyone, I'm Scylla,
I'm Shannon.
and we're Normal Suburban Moms. So, we're going to try to make this video straight through, no editing, just get through it. Paula Morgan released a new video today, and we felt the immediate need to respond. So, I actually do have some videos that I've already filmed, so this is kind of out of the sequence of how I planned on posting videos. You'll notice the difference, if for no other reason, our hair color. I'm finally blonde for the first time since I had cancer.
And I redid my red, just freshened it up.
So, when our hair color goes back to the way it was in the next video, you'll know why.
Yeah.
So anyway, without further ado, let's get right to the video. I really just want to get through this one. So Paula Morgan recorded a video and posted it today, basically talking about a quote that Tucker Carlson said. I'm not going to go through their part of the video where they actually read it, because they read through it kind of slowly and it's like the first 7.5 minutes of the video. So I'll go ahead and read the quote real quick, and then we'll skip to the part in the video where they respond. So the quote itself says, "I'm sorry, but anyone that thinks that social distancing is a good idea for the next few years actually wants to be microchipped or thinks that a benevolent dictatorship is for the good of humanity. I don't want to give that point of view any of my energy. I am a free human being, and if you want to stay home, stay home. That is your sovereign right to choose. If you want to wear a mask, wear a mask. That is your sovereign right to choose. If you want to avoid large crowds, avoid large crowds. That is your sovereign right to choose. I am not required to descend into poverty for you. I am not required to abstain from human contact for you. I refuse to participate in quarantine life until there's an unsafe, untested vaccine released in 18 months. I refuse to receive a vaccine that makes others feel more safe. That's my sovereign right to choose. If you're convinced the vaccine is safe and effective, you can get it for yourself. Some of you are allowing fears and policies devoid of scientifically accurate data to destroy the country you live in and ruin your life. We have a constitutional right to take risks. Life is full of bacteria and viruses, many of which spread before symptoms manifest and after they subside. We have a sovereign right to receive or refuse vaccines. The data was inaccurate at best, purposely overblown to justify government overreaction at worst. Stop allowing the government to destroy the food supply, small businesses, medical autonomy, access to health care, mass gatherings, privacy rights, our mental health and freedom. When the new normal is filled with starvation, depression, suicide, child abuse, domestic violence, imprisonment, governmental spying, and pure desperation, the virus is going to look preferable to the world you help facilitate. I'm going to turn this around on people from now on. Those that say I'm, or anyone that supports this, putting money over lives by wanting the country back open for business, hear this. You don't care about the people that will kill themselves out of hopelessness. You don't care about the small businesses that'll close their doors, their livelihood permanently. You don't care about the children, women, men that'll be victims of domestic abuse. You don't care about people defaulting on their mortgages. You don't care about bills going unpaid by families with zero income right now. You don't care about people wondering where their next meal will come from. You don't care about the people that'll lose their sobriety and slip back into alcoholism. You don't care about the people that will starve. You support the inevitable looting that'll take place. You don't care about anyone that's murdered the longer this shutdown goes on. You don't care about people's mental health. You don't care about the children that do need teachers and educators to gild and educate them. You don't care about the economy crashing down around us. You don't care. You love your shackles. You are pathetic, begging your leaders for more shutdowns and more regulations and more handouts. I will not tolerate another person telling me that I don't care about lives. I care about the situation in its entirety, but you don't care about any of that, so you stay at home, you wear a mask, you live in fear. I, on the other hand, will not, as is my sovereign right to choose not to." There's so much wrong with that quote, starting with whataboutisms and just plain bad arguments, because nobody is saying the shutdown needs to go on for years. And if you truly believe that the vaccine is going to contain a microchip, then we have a whole nother set of issues. The fact of the matter is, this isn't talking about a sovereign right. We're talking about how your choices can affect other people. If you choose to not wear a seatbelt, you put your life at risk. You don't put other people's life at risk. If you choose not to wear a mask, you put other people's life at risk. Your freedom should not infringe on somebody else's right to live a healthy life. Period. And as far as educators go, we're both teachers.
Oh.
We both want to be back in the classroom desperately, but we also want to live to teach another year.
I teach special education. Yeah. And it is like physically painful almost to not be able to be in the classroom with my kids, because I know that that's what they need. They need the one-on-one. I know that. I understand it. But I also want to keep myself safe so that I can touch more lives, and I want to keep them safe so that they can learn. They have the opportunity to learn.
And I promise you, teachers aren't on vacation. Working online is harder than anything we have to do on campus.
Yeah, I'm not even, like, getting paid right now. I'm not on contract yet until next week, and, like, every spare minute I have, I'm working to, develop my online platforms and get everything ready to roll out at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, teachers want to be back in the classroom. They just want to be safe, and they want to keep their students safe. And anybody that thinks teachers aren't working thinks that it's going to be super easy to social distance or keep students and a teacher safe, or thinks that teachers are taking advantage of the situation. You don't know how schools work. You don't know what teachers actually do day to day, and you don't understand what it means to be in the education system. Period. Full stop.
Good teachers make it look easy. I promise you there is a lot more going on behind the scenes than you have any idea about.
Mm-hmm. And as far as everything else, honestly, it's what I said before. Your right to choose to not wear a mask should not infringe on my right to live. And there are essential things that we need to do, like go to the grocery store.
Yeah.
So that's all I have to say about that quote. Now, Paula Morgan, on the other hand, there's plenty to say there.
Morgan. Like, I love you guys, but come on.
I do too, and actually a video that's upcoming that we had planned to release already, but then this happened. I go on about how much I actually adore Paula and Morgan and their love, and they seem so in love. So, like, this isn't first of all, let me make clear, this is not a personal attack against Paula and Morgan.
No.
They seem like lovely people, and honestly, if they could get over the fact that we're a same-sex couple, I would love to have them as couple friends. They seem like lovely people. But their views that they're perpetuating in the video they released today are nothing short of toxic. So let's go ahead and get right into it. I'm going to start the video at the point in which they have just finished reading the quote that I just read. First of all, they do say that they couldn't actually find any evidence that Tucker Carlson said it, but then they do go on throughout the video to continue to talk as if he did. It took me all of 10 minutes to find out he probably didn't. It's something that's been posted on message boards and websites that originate in Canada, Russia, all over the place. It's been attributed to many people and no one at all. And here lately, largely Tucker Carlson, but it seems very unlikely that he actually said it. And I really wish they would have fact-checked it before they perpetuated it to the level that they did. Although they did mention that they couldn't prove it, I don't think they made it clear enough that he actually probably didn't say it, or write it, or have anything to do with it, really.
They made it seem like they kind of concluded that he did, even if there was no proof. And
right.
we pretty much concluded that he didn't.
Right. So I wish they would have made it more clear, because that seems like sloppy fact-checking, but that also might be nitpicking. So anyway, let's get to the video in which they've just finished reading that quote.
I think a quick disclaimer, I agree with large quantities of this quote. If I was the one writing it, I probably wouldn't have been that harsh. And maybe that's why Tucker is kind of elusive in identifying that it was truly him.
I mean, maybe he said it in one of his monologues, and that's where someone got it from.
That's true.
I don't know.
And he's, dude, Tucker Savage.
Yeah, Tucker doesn't care.
I wouldn't have necessarily turned it around on the people and said, you don't care, you don't care. I don't necessarily think that that's...
Again, just to be clear, there's actually no evidence Tucker did say that, and he's being elusive about it, probably because he didn't have anything to do with it. So, you know, fact-checking is a thing.
That's fair, but the point that he's getting across, man, oh man.
Well, I think he's just kind of taking so many people's tactics, which has been to tell people, if you don't wear a mask, then you don't care about your grandma. You don't care about the medically compromised people.
And to continue those, because I think a really important one is not just the mask, but if you're for opening up the country, then you care more about money than lives.
Yeah.
And how dare you? Yeah. How dare you, selfish person?
Yeah, I'm just tired of that argument. It's exhausting, it's ridiculous, it's heartless, and, like, it's just rude to say, like, if we could save one life, well, if we could save one life, then we all just better stay in our house for the rest of our lives. You want to go to that extreme, then okay.
Okay, so I think that's the case of taking the argument and taking it to the extreme. Nobody is saying that you're heartless if you're worried about the economy. I think we're all a bit worried about the economy. I think we're all worried about the mom and pop shops that are having to close permanently and people that are losing their small businesses.
There have been several in our area that have had to close.
And it's sad and it sucks, and nobody is saying you're a monster for that. What we are saying is, yeah, it's too early to open back up, because the states that have opened back up too fast, like our state of Texas, opened too fast and not very safely, and cases have spiked. And for everyone that's saying schools should open because kids can't get it, there's been a spike in hospitalizations of kids too. And that's the key here, the hospitalizations. Because yes, if you test more, you have the potential to have a higher case number. That's just math. However, whether you test or not, sick people are going to end up in the hospital. So if your cases go up, fine, make a case that it could be more testing. Hospitalizations go up, you have more cases. And that's where we're at. And yes, that includes kids. And we want to continue to open up. So I don't see how you can make the argument that that's not somewhat heartless to say, yes, let's open everything up and let the chips fall where they may, when this is clearly so contagious.
Yeah.
We're not talking about the common cold or the flu.
No.
And yes, I know a lot of people are comparing it to the flu. Another false equivalence. Because look at the number of deaths of the flu over the same time span. Yes, if you look at the cases of flu that cause deaths over the course of a year, you may get a similar number. But look at it in the time span we have had COVID-19. Those numbers don't match up when you look at them at actual equivalents.
I remember it was either end of February, beginning of March, we had like 100 cases in the U.S. And that wasn't that long ago. And now we're over 150,000 deaths. Mm-hmm. That's crazy.
So, do I think that a citizen is heartless for wanting to open the economy? Not necessarily. I have a very close friend of mine that is constantly being criticized because he's worried about the economy. and I don't think he's a monster. Do I think politicians that have access to all the facts and actually have power are monstrous? Like our dear Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick that wants to sacrifice people for the economy? Yeah, I think there are. It comes down to citizens versus those that have the power to incite change. So we're talking about two different things here, and the argument Paul and Morgan are making here is just really not the argument that's actually being made. They're responding to the most extreme version of it instead of actually addressing it.
Let's talk about if we could save one life. I mean, you've probably heard it, but we would reduce the speed limit down to 30 miles an hour. To 5 miles an hour. To 5 miles an hour. Yeah, there's so many things that we could do to save one life, but does it make sense to do those things? Does it make sense for the entire world to do those things because it could save one life? And I'm not saying that that one life is not valuable, because it is. 1,000% it is. But we're not God, and we need to stop playing God.
I feel like that's like a good amount of like what's happening is people are playing God and trying to save lives, but yet like all these people that are trying to save lives are for abortion.
Really,
No.
Morgan? She's going to go on a tangent, and so we're going to address it a little more. But I just wanted to cut in and say, nobody is for abortion, Morgan.
And also,
Nobody.
Also, I just want to say, it's not playing God, it's medical care.
Yeah, unless you're going to refuse all medical care, and that means all medical care.
Oh, and I guarantee if Morgan or Paul came down with COVID and they were so sick that they needed to be in the hospital,
On a ventilator.
the other would get their butt to the hospital so that they could be cared for.
Mm-hmm. It's not playing God, it's medicine. And first of all, as anyone that's watched any of our videos knows, it's not like we're atheists. We're not Christian, we're pagan, but we do believe in gods. So we understand believing in the power of the gods and how they can heal and what they can do. But the gods help those that help themselves, and they've given us free will and the intellect for modern medicine. So, I mean, if you really want to get technical, Morgan, aren't you squandering the gifts God gave us with intellect? We're smarter than any other animal on earth. So, there's another side to that too. We're not playing God. We're helping God. So, she's going to go off more on abortion, so get ready for that.
And so you can take lives here, but don't take lives here.
That's
like
a pretty savage comment. I mean, not necessarily.
All of us are for that. There's plenty of people that are not. They're for the most extreme safety procedures in regards to COVID that are not for abortion. I guess when I was saying that, I'm saying that as in, like, I'm looking at states that are opening up and that are not. Like, our state, Kentucky, is weird right now.
and going up and down, and our governor is Democratic, and he is supported by Planned Parenthood financially.
He's kept the abortion clinics open throughout.
And he's reopened or is in the process of reopening clinics that had shut down years ago. But yet he's saying we need to do this to save lives. We need to do this to protect.
So you're pointing out that there is some obvious hypocrisy.
Yeah.
No. Okay, again, first of all, Morgan, nobody is for abortion. They're for
No.
choice.
Yes.
Choice. I loathe the idea of abortion. I could never personally do that. I want a baby so bad, and the idea of someone aborting one kind of kills me a little bit. That being said, every woman has a right to choose what happens to her own body.
Yeah, like, who the hell am I to tell another woman making the hardest medical decision of her life that she's wrong?
So, no, Morgan, nobody is for abortion, and that has nothing to do with COVID. It was a ridiculous thing to even bring up. Second of all, I'm assuming that since you mentioned abortion clinics staying open right after mentioning Planned Parenthood, that you're somehow equating the two. And Planned Parenthood does much more than abortions, and in fact, most of what they do isn't abortions. It's medical care.
They do health screenings for women who otherwise don't have access to them. including pap smears, including breast exams. They, they do a lot of
They
stuff.
offer birth control, so you
Yes,
don't have to
birth
get an
control.
abortion.
Because it's Planned Parenthood. They support parenthood, but they also support you planning your life in a way that works for you. And if having a baby right that minute doesn't work for you, then they are a non-judgmental resource for you to go to.
And it's asinine for people to continue to shame women for doing what's already very hard for them to do, for whatever their reasons may be. It's not Christians, we're supposed to be non-judgmental. Also, yes, abortion clinics need to stay open right now. That is a time-sensitive procedure. You're against late-term abortions even more than early-term, right? Well, then they have to stay open. Nobody wants late-term abortions, but we also don't want women being stuck in a position with their body that they don't need to be stuck in.
And let me tell you what, I've known some women that have had late-term abortions, and it's not because they didn't want their child, it's because something was fatally wrong with their child, and they chose to go ahead and have the child early. They had to go through labor. It wasn't an abortion. And they had to go through all that just to have a baby that they could never take home and raise.
Nobody is for abortions. Like I said, I find the idea loathsome, but it's not my place. And it has nothing to do with the virus.
It's gonna make me cry.
So, that... I think it's asinine that you even brought that up, Morgan. But let's get back to your points.
Yes. I'm saying there's hypocrisy on both sides.
There
It's
is.
not just the Democrats against the Republicans. Like, it's on both sides there's hypocrisy, okay?
It's interesting.
Morgan, I posted part of this quote to my Instagram, and right when I dropped the quote, I got one or two people responding saying, I'm a Christian, and this quote just doesn't seem Christ-like or loving. You are trying to stand up for your rights, and, I'm sure they're thinking, you're putting money in the economy over lives. Well, then, I went on my Instagram to paraphrase the ending of this quote, where Tucker so savagely puts, you don't care about the people who kill themselves out of hopelessness, you don't care about the small businesses that will close their doors, their livelihoods permanently, you don't care about the children, women that are getting abused, and, you go down the list, and when I posted that to my Instagram, some people wrote back and were like, oh wow, I haven't even heard that side. The media doesn't talk about that side. All I've heard is that the empathetic ones are the ones that are all about saving lives and keeping the country closed. And in reality, there is trade-offs. There is another side to it. And Tucker lays that out there. And it's real. This is real.
Again, attributing it to Tucker when there's no evidence. He could have easily said, according to this quote, without attributing it to anybody that may and probably didn't actually say or write it. Anyway. Nobody is saying it's an easy decision to make. We all understand that this is not easy. It's not easy for any of us. But they're acting like it is just, you're either for opening the economy or against it, and that's not the case. There is a safe way to open, and there are things that need to be open, and there is a right way to go about it. And there are certain things that I feel need to be closed right now, such as bars and schools and gyms that are just really hard, even with safety measures, to mitigate the transmission of the virus.
Yes.
But there is other types of businesses that if people would just wear masks, it could be safe to open. So nobody's saying don't open. I think most of what people are saying is wear a mask so we can get ahead of this thing.
Yeah, people want to put their personal freedom and their comfort over reopening, but they still want to reopen. Like, you can't have it both ways. If you want to reopen, wear a mask, and then we can
Exactly.
reopen sooner.
Yes.
Science.
It's like, it's a trade-off. Do we like wearing masks?
No.
I have almost passed out in the grocery store a couple of times from it. But that temporary discomfort that could potentially save somebody's life. And that's a trade-off I am more than happy to make if it helps get this virus under control any sooner.
And as for the mental health aspect, I suffer from depression and anxiety. It's bad. And I have been more anxious than ever since this started. I even had to talk to my doctor and change my medications and get sleep medications because I wasn't sleeping. Like, it has really affected me. So I get that. I understand that. And it sucks. But, like, I don't want to get sick. I don't want to get other people sick. So, you know, I take the medicine and I try to do meditation and deep breathing exercises and just deal with it because that's what is good for the country right now.
And let me tell you, as somebody that's fought cancer and so has faced the possibility of death, that is a scary place to be. And if there is any way that I can ever avoid being in that situation, especially a year after I beat cancer,
Yeah.
I'm gonna do it. Wear a freaking mask.
And, like, I'm also at a higher risk of getting really sick or possibly dying from COVID if I get it because I'm diabetic.
And they're gonna get into that.
And I have chronic respiratory issues.
So, yes, we have opinions on this, and they are about to go right where you went. So, let's let them have their say.
This is the real deal. This is the real deal. I mean, take out the freedom aspects of, we are standing for our freedoms. Focus on the empathy side of it, and there's two sides to the empathy coin. I just want to ask yourself, why isn't the media talking about the fact that suicide rates have gone up? Something insane. We've got kids at home with abusive parents where their only escape is to go to school for 8 hours. Why are they not talking about that? My thought is, there's an agenda. Clearly, there's an agenda. And pushing these statistics, and more we're seeing that, a lab here messed up. Oh, the cases in Florida from 14 different labs showed that they were reporting 98% COVID positivity rates when it was actually 9.8 or 0.9. Yeah, whatever, 8.4.
Cite your sources, and give me one other than Fox News.
And do I have students that I am currently concerned about because I know about their home life? Yes. Yes, absolutely. But I don't want them to come to school to get sick and die. I mean, it's a really tough thing for us. It really is.
It is.
But ultimately, like, sounds cliche, but safety first.
Anything lost in the classroom right now can be made up, but only if we survive it. Honestly. And as far as the suicide rates, I've seen that reported on. I've seen the mental health aspect reported on. I would like to know what their news sources are. And based on what they're about to say, I'm guessing it's just Fox News.
Seems that way.
So, but, Paul and Morgan, please continue.
4%. That seems to be becoming a little bit of a trend. Oh, how crazy. Go figure.
How crazy. Go figure.
I'm sure it was complete accidents, every one of them.
And, we're hearing more and more of people saying, I was going to go get tested, filled out the paperwork, and then I decided, I gotta go, or I can't wait in this line, or whatever. And then what do you know, a few days later in the mail comes back, I am positive for COVID, yet I never got tested. Like, we're hearing more and more
hey,
of that.
Mr. Jones, this is a doctor, and sadly, you are positive for COVID. Please quarantine, and we will be keeping an eye on you, a very close eye. Doctor, I left before I even took the test. What was that? Gotta go.
Quarantine!
Just quarantine.
Again, cite
Cite your
sources. Are these just hearsay? Do we have any evidence of this?
Where are you hearing it from?
Sources. And preferably multiple outlets.
Yeah. Where did you hear it? Where did they hear it?
On Facebook. Actually, it was a friend of mine posted something that their friend posted, but this lady said, if I have to wear a mask for your health, then you better believe I'm gonna whack that unhealthy food out of your hand when I see you next time.
Holy smokes.
Not the same thing.
Not the same thing.
Not even remotely. Another false equivalence.
Complete false equivalence.
That's savage, but
That's good.
it's good. And it's like, why aren't we talking about this more? Like, we're just going to talk about all the uncomfortable things that nobody wants to talk about. We're here to talk about it.
In this one video.
Why is no one talking about the fact that, like, if you become healthier...
If you eat well and cut out this crap, if you are exercising, if you're getting out in the sun, if you're getting enough sleep, these things are huge players in defending your body from this. And I love how you could probably get on, like, any of these junk food social media accounts and they're posting stay safe, you know, the classic quotes, stay safe, wear your mask, do your part, and yet they're Coca-Cola and
stay home, we got you.
Yeah,
we'll bring the food to you.
Let daddy take care of you. Like, ho-hos and Twinkies and crappy cereal, sodas, and they're acting like we really Just tell me this in the comment section. Do you believe that these junk food corporation businesses really care about your health?
No, when you do the health food companies, because corporations are after money and they don't actually have feelings because they're not people.
No, they're not people, regardless of what laws say. Anyway, also, like, give me a freaking break. Yes, all of those healthy things that you can do will absolutely help you, and it can boost your immune system. I can't talk tonight, but there are also young, healthy people that eat healthy and work out that are dying from this.
COVID doesn't discriminate, in case you hadn't noticed.
Yeah.
You can be young, old, healthy, not healthy.
It doesn't care who you are.
It's kind of a luck of the draw if you survive it or not.
Yeah. And yes, there are factors that might give you better chances or worse chances, but it's not definite.
No. And again, this is another whataboutism.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't address the actual issue. But let's let them continue.
That's a good question. Hearing all these companies and all these people say, stay home, stay safe, we want to see you be healthy.
So
Wait,
we'll stay home
what?
and stay safe while we gobble down your food and get
diabetes and
probably
become obese.
I'd like to see the statistics for people dying. Well, now everyone's dying from COVID. Actually, deaths from COVID versus deaths from heart disease. Show me those stats, Chris Cuomo.
Okay,
Dude!
First of all,
I highly doubt you watch Primetime with Chris Cuomo. And don't go after my boy Chris. He's like literally the only news anchor on mainstream media that I actually respect. Straight up.
Yeah.
So that got me, because, like, just no.
Certainly don't respect Fucker Carlson, even if he didn't make that quote. It was gonna happen at least once in this video.
It's a good thing we don't worry about monetization. Wasn't gonna say it, but anyway, moving on.
Also, hold on, Morgan. Diabetes, yes, diet can definitely play a part in someone getting diabetes. The bigger factor in that is genetics. There are people that eat crap every day and they don't get diabetes. They might get heart disease, but they don't get diabetes. My mom has diabetes and she's never really been super overweight. So, like, her weight had nothing to do with that. It's genetic. Both of my grandparents had diabetes. I have an aunt and I think an uncle that has diabetes. And, among my siblings, I got the lucky straw.
And yes, weight and diet can play a factor, but again, you're doing whataboutisms. Yeah. We're not talking about heart disease, and
not all of us out here with diabetes are eating junk food. Have I? Sure. I'm trying to do better now because junk food makes me feel sick.
So, yeah, that one really upset me because, yeah, it doesn't actually take medical science into consideration with the genetic aspect of diabetes.
It's just, you eat junk food, you're going to get diabetes in a span of 3 months. Come on.
And second of all, it is more whataboutisms and not addressing the actual issue.
Mhm.
So they're really convoluting their point with a lot of other things that have nothing to do with it. But let's go on.
Why Chris Cuomo? Oh, because he's the head of CNN. The face of CNN.
Show me those stats. Don Lemon. That's what Tucker says. I think Tucker calls him Don Lemon. I think his name is pronounced Don Lemon.
I think Don Lemon.
But Tucker says Don Lemon.
So to me, this tells me they don't watch Don Lemon.
Proof that they don't watch Don Lemon.
Which means I'm guessing, just based on the way they're acting, that their primary news source is actually Fox News. Here's just a little fact about me. I watch Chris Cuomo frequently.
Mm-hmm.
I do watch Don Lemon, and as a person, I think he's great. I love his banter back and forth with Chris Cuomo. Here lately, some of his political viewpoints have been a bit far left for me, but nonetheless, I still think that he is a good anchor. I watch Tucker Carlson. I have watched Laura Ingram.
Yeah, Laura Ingram.
I watch various anchors on MSNBC, with the exception of Rachel Maddow, because she's way far left, and I just can't stomach that. The same reason I don't watch Sean Hannity. He's a bit far right, even for me. So, my point being, I watch some of all of them because, guess what? They all have a slant. None of them are 100% factual. And I feel the closest, typically, is Chris Cuomo, although here lately I've noticed him slanting more and more left, and I've stopped watching with as much frequency.
We like to get, opinions from all sides so that we have a well-rounded, informed opinion of what's going on.
And that's something that Paula Morgan, if you happen to watch this video and we're wrong, we would love to have a dialogue.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
It honestly sounds like you're getting your news from one news source that is very slanted and not always very factual. And you really, if that is the case, you should really broaden your horizons, because none of them are 100% right. And you really have to get all sides to figure out where the truth lies.
Mm-hmm.
So,
we'd actually love to have a dialogue with you guys.
and for the record, it is Don Lemon,
Yes.
but you probably wouldn't watch him anyway because he is openly gay.
Did you know that? Did you? Did you? No, probably not, because you didn't even know how to say his name.
Yeah, probably why they'd stay away from CNN. They have Anderson Cooper, too. He just had a
He
baby.
just had a baby, and he's gay.
The horror!
And he's raising his baby with his ex-lover.
Wow. And I think he's Christian.
A gay Christian? Is that even a thing?
Say it isn't so.
What? There are some Christians that aren't judgmental?
I think that's supposed to be one of their tenets, actually.
Yeah, there's this verse or part of a verse, and I'm going to be honest, I don't know the book and the chapter and all that stuff. But it's, he who is without sin cast the first stone. Which means, if you've done nothing wrong in your life ever, then judge. Go ahead. But everyone has. So, don't judge. That's, if you believe in the Christian God, that is his job. That's like what he's supposed to do. So, it's not up to you.
But it's okay, Paul and Morgan, because we love you. We love the sinner and just hate your sin.
It's true.
Let me see if I'm right. Does Tucker Carlson say his name weird?
This is not a concern over at CNN. Don Lemon doesn't care. He is a
Don
highly paid
Lemon.
news
Don Lemon. Don Lemon.
What if that is how his name is pronounced?
Maybe it
and
is.
Tucker's the only one saying it right.
Yeah, go ahead.
Anyways, guys, we want to know what you all think.
So that's pretty much where they wrap it up, and then they go into their subscribe spiel and everything. Once again, it is Don Lemon, and we know that's how he says his name because we've heard him say his own name, and Tucker doesn't say it right. It's a way of mocking him because he's just really professional that way.
Well, guess what? Fucker Carlson. Is that how you pronounce your name? Is it Fucker? I think that T makes an F sound in your name only. Fucker.
You're heated.
I'm done. I'm done.
Anyway, so I just really wanted to make this video because there were so many whataboutisms and false equivalences and
No sources for anything.
no sources, really, really poor fact checking even on the quote in which they were initially responding to.
And
And
it just went off in a weird direction and got really convoluted.
And honestly, again, this isn't a personal attack on Paul and Morgan. I still adore them. I'm still going to be subscribed to their channel and watch their videos even when they tick me off. But I really wish they would be, I understand that they look at things from the Christian viewpoint, and that's fine. We look at things from a pagan viewpoint. But there is also such a thing as a worldview, and that takes different sources and different news outlets to have a fully formed worldview that isn't one-sided. It's how I came from being way right to right of center, and how she went from being far left,
Way left
to
being
left of center.
center.
because we expanded our view. I used to watch Fox News exclusively. I adored Bill O'Reilly, not as a person, as a newscaster.
You know,
That's an
I have
important distinction.
to say, most of the time, I really enjoyed his show too. Honestly, I really did.
And Tucker, you're no Bill O'Reilly.
No, you're not. And, I mean, what's up with your expression? Anyway, whatever. I'm gonna stop.
Do we need to make a video just about Tucker?
I really dislike the way he expresses the news.
So I did get my news from Fox News at one point, and then I expanded and I started watching CNN and MSNBC, and do I agree with all of what they say? No. Don Lemon, like I said, has gotten way far left for me. Rachel Maddow always has been. I've tried again and again to stomach her show to get a different viewpoint, and she's just too much for me.
And I used to love Rachel Maddow. Like, I loved her. I thought she was, like, the greatest thing since sliced bread. And now I'm like, I can watch her, but It's like we're both on the fence. And, like, she's leaning right and I'm leaning left.
Yeah. That may end up being our logo.
For a while, I did lean so far left that I fell off the fence. But now I'm back on.
But that's a story for another time. Although if you watched our video on how we met and the evolution of our relationship, then you already know that story for the most part.
Yes. That story is in there.
Anyway, Paula Morgan, we do love you, but we want to see your sources. We want you to fact check better. We want you to have a broader worldview. And if you can get over talking to a bisexual / pansexual couple, then we would love to have an open dialogue.
Because after all, we're just normal suburban moms.
We really are. And yes, we know about the tweet Trump sent out about the suburbs. I'm sure there'll be a video on that coming very soon as well, because we have thoughts on that.
Oh, we have thoughts.
So anyway, Paula Morgan, we're here for you if you want to have an open dialogue.
We've got you.
And if everyone else, thank you for watching. I know that I said I wasn't going to edit any of this. Clearly there are some edits in here for different hiccups that happened during the recording. We tried not to edit much. We did skip a little of the Paula Morgan video, but if you want to watch the video in its entirety, I am actually going to link it down in the description below. Also, feel free to like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. We are a new
Nice.
channel, and we're trying to build it up some, get our message out. So subscribe, like, and share.
Ring that bell.
Yes, because it allegedly does something. Can't hurt, right?
Let us know what it does.
Right? Because
We
I
wanna
haven't
know.
figured it out yet.
I want to know, what does the bell do?
Is it like those buttons at stoplights where you press it and nothing actually happens, but it makes you feel like you have some power?
Oh, maybe. Or like when I was in the hospital right after my C-section, and I had the IV drip with the painkillers, and I could press the button as much as I wanted, but it only does like once every 30 minutes or something.
The bell's a false illusion of power.
It's a false illusion of power.
We're on to you, YouTube.
But hey, click on that bell anyway.
Anyway, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.